Good evening, everyone. We'll begin this council meeting Tuesday, May the 12th, and we'll call this meeting to order at 6 p.m. Please rise for the playing of the national anthem. We will begin our meeting with a land acknowledgement. With gratitude, the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands acknowledges that these lands and waters are the traditional territory of the Algonquin, Mississaugas, Mohawk, and Huron-Wendat. To recognize the role the township must play in truth and reconciliation, we also acknowledge the displacement of these peoples. Additionally, the township would like to respectfully acknowledge the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people who also call this place home. We make this land acknowledgement to honor the Indigenous ancestors who have stewarded these lands and waters since time immemorial. So we will begin with adoption of the agenda, moved by Councillor Antoine Hartley, seconded by Councillor Maybe, that the agenda be adopted as circulated and that the procedural bylaw be waived to allow item 13.1 to be heard with item 9.1. Discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. Declaration of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Does anybody have an interest to declare? Go ahead, Councillor Kalman. Go ahead. And next, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Worship. And through you, I have to declare a conflict for item number 12, the staff reports, because that will include the 2026 cemetery grant program, and I'm on one of the cemetery boards that's receiving a grant.
Okay, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you. And through you, I have to declare a conflict of interest in 12.1 for the community grants spring intake. I am a director on Sabara.
12.2.
12.2.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Just wanted to make sure it was the right one. Okay, I have them here. We'll get them into the clerk. Any other declarations at this time? Seeing none, we'll move forward with the next item, which is closed session, and there is none, nor would there be reporting out, and there is no public meeting. So we'll move right forward with briefings, number 9, and we'll ask the clerk to do the preamble.
Thank you. Through you, Your Worship. Thank you to all who submitted an application for this process. So we will ask each applicant to come forward to provide a brief introduction and then answer the 3 interview questions. The 3 questions are: what prompted you to apply to serve on council? What experiences from your personal or professional life do you see as strengths in shaping how you would approach serving on council? And what are the most important issues that the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands is facing? A timer will be set for 10 minutes for each applicant, and I will advise at 1 minute remaining if that's required. Following all interviews, council members will cast their vote, and I will tally the results and announce the applicant with the most votes. Council will then pass a motion to appoint the new member, and a bylaw will be passed at the end of the meeting. 12 pieces of correspondence were received and provided to council with respect to this process. They will be attached to the minutes of this meeting.
Okay, folks, so we will begin with the first item, first person, my apologies, 9.1.1, which is Vera Dulish. We'll just make sure the microphone's on for you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
To the mayor, council members, and staff of the Leeds and Thousand Islands, along with the audience. My name is Vera Dulish, and I have been a resident of Lyndhurst for the past 6 years. I am applying for this position because I feel strong commitment to this community, my neighbors, and friends. I want to continue to make Lyndhurst and the Thousand Island, TLTI, a great place to live and work for everyone. As a volunteer member of the Lyndhurst Turkey Fair, the CEC of Morton, Events Committee, and Beautification member in Morton, I enjoy getting involved in local projects, working with my neighbors to improve our village and meet new people. I've always felt a deep-seated dedication to community service and helping others, whether through my long-term volunteerism for various community organizations, such as 35 plus years with St. John Ambulance, or have been awarded the Order of St. John, which is one below the Order of Canada, or my 50 years in the nursing and military of the various communities and settings. In terms of relevant experience, I've served as a ward counselor for 10 years and deputy mayor for 1 year with, for CFB Petawawa. In that role, I attended monthly meetings, oversaw a budget, brought community concerns to the base commander. In my free time, I enjoy gardening, DIY projects, especially foraging for wild mushrooms. I would like to take this opportunity to thank you for allowing me to submit my application for this prestigious position, and I look forward to being of service to my community.
Thank you, Vera. Are there any clarifying questions from council? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought she finished.
Questions?
Oh, with the questions, sorry. I just didn't know if there was any questions in regards to the preamble before you go on to answering those questions. If we're good, we can move forward. Go ahead.
All right. What prompted me to apply to serve on council? I look forward to serving people in the community with worthwhile causes and assist in our community. It helps me to kind of reduce stress because I think of something else, and it keeps the brain stimulated while giving you a sense of purpose, and it's also fun and boosts social skills. What experiences from my personal professional life do you see as strengths in shaping how you would approach serving on council? I've had various leadership roles which are needed to balance my professional, work life, and personal life. I am well organized and understand what it and how to structure things. As a mother, I've had to prioritize and balance what is important. I feel I can be an asset in lending my voice to become a council member. The most important issues in the township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands faces issues within the municipality, which includes affordable housing. It's limited in this region. Roads also need some improvement. And of course, we've just kind of have Wi-Fi with WTC, which they are working to make it a goal for the members in the community. Rejuvenation of our villages and also signage is also an issue, especially with the bridge that we have in Lyndhurst. Countless number of vehicles have gone through there, and at times you wonder whether or not an accident would occur. We would like to have our taxes kept low in Eastern Ontario, and also activities for the seniors and youth. Another one would be the Alto, the high-speed rail. It's an issue that is negative to a lot of people. It's people's livelihood that will be affected. What is going to be done with the fire station in Sealy's Bay? It would be nice to have a larger library, and it also would help if we continue to have some community involvement on the top floor. And lastly, the swing bridge, which is the Brass Point Bridge, is soon to be closed on the 26th of June to December of 2027. Don't know if anything has been prepared for the members that might live in that area. How are they going to get across? Thank you. And I look forward to your decision.
Thank you very much. Is there any questions for the candidate? I have no questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Next person is John Paul Jackson.
Oh, you're going to see I'm wearing short socks, so that's not nice. Ms. Gatchke, members of council, staff, members of the public, fellow candidates. Most of you have heard me speak over the past several years about why I wish to represent the community at the council table. However, it bears repeating because despite any perceptions or personal biases that may exist, this motivation genuinely reflects who I am. As I have often said in these chambers, I've always believed that our purpose in life is to give back, to leave an impact, and to create a legacy that inspires others to do the same. In more eloquent terms, what we do in life echoes for eternity. That perspective closely reflects the words shared by Ms. Gatchke when recognizing Councillor Jeff Lackey recently. You said you cared and you chose to put your hand up and make a difference. That sentiment captures precisely why I'm here today. I am here again, putting my hand up in the hopes of making a difference. While I believe my application speaks for itself, I'd like to briefly highlight some of the experiences and contributions I bring back to the council table. Before serving on council, I had the privilege of serving on several important township committees, including the original Casino Reserve Fund Committee. During that same period, I contributed to the development of the township's fundamental policies, including the original procurement policy adopted by Mayor Frank Kinsella in 2006. Alongside Ms. Gatchke, I also was a founding member of the Township Taxpayers First Taxpayers Association. During my term on council, I served on the township's Economic Development Committee and the Youth Advisory Committee. I worked closely with staff and fellow members of council on numerous initiatives, and with the help of Mr. Tao, who's here with me tonight as a fellow candidate, presented motions that were ultimately adopted including the township's paved shoulders policy, the councillor code of conduct, the creation of Lyndhurst Creek Walking Trail, the establishment of the contractor's dock in Gananoque, the township's flag policy, the private laneway grant policy, and alongside my late friend, Councillor Harold Emmons, a motion recommending an interest-free loan for the Lansdowne Medical Centre. Yes, I introduced all of those, or was an impetus behind every single one of them. I also contributed to updates to the property standards bylaw and portions of the township's official plan, and worked collaboratively with the United Counties of Leeds and Grenville on their paved shoulder strategy. In addition, although not implemented during my term of council, I was a strong and vocal advocate, both at the council table and publicly, for the creation of a community improvement plan, an initiative that several members of you on council decided was important enough to adopt. Beyond municipal governments, I have always believed strongly in volunteerism and community service. I'm honored to have received the Queen's Elizabeth Silver Jubilee Medal for my volunteer work with the Ontario Provincial Police as a search and rescue volunteer instructor, as well as for my service on a canine search and rescue team, along with my first my first German Shepherd dog. Locally, I have supported numerous community initiatives, including the Lansdowne Fair, the Turkey Fair, and the Seniors Expo. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I volunteered extensively with the town of Gananoque, the Eastern Ontario Community Angels, local vaccination clinics, and local food bank distributions. For many years, I've also provided free income tax services to hundreds of local low-income families and seniors, a service I still provide today, well, actually, as of last month. In addition to my municipal council and volunteer experience, I bring 17 years of service in the Canadian Armed Forces, serving across our country, Europe, and the Middle East. I have 20 years with the federal government working as a criminal investigator and a senior income tax auditor. I have a Bachelor of Commerce degree that I just completed in 2021, with studies focused on economic development, budgeting, ethics, and finance. And I have more than 30 years of experience as a chartered professional accountant specializing in auditing, taxation, and financial management. I'm also very familiar with the township's procedures and governance processes, which allows me to navigate issues efficiently and make informed and practical decisions now. Collectively, these experiences demonstrate my ability to work collaboratively regardless of past differences and to contribute meaningful and professionally to the work of council. Turning to the challenges before us, it's clear that the rising costs, including insurance, policing, infrastructure, and human resources, continue to place increasing pressures on our municipality. These pressures are further compounded by the ongoing downloading from upper levels of government and increasing regulatory requirements. Balancing these realities with the expectations and needs of the residents is no small task. Many of these challenges intersect directly with the 4 strategic pillars identified by council. For example, promoting quality of life and environmental stewardship is closely connected to the solid waste management issues and the significant costs associated with maintaining and improving water quality infrastructure here in the town. These responsibilities fall upon a relatively small tax and user base, more specifically within this ward, making financial sustainability increasingly difficult, especially for the residents of Lansdowne. At the same time, delivering effective and accountable government requires not only managing present-day costs, but also protecting future generations through responsible asset management and long-term infrastructure planning. Enhancing community safety, supporting well-being, and fostering jobs and economic development also remains significant as a challenge, particularly in light of changing demographics. We continue to see an aging population, younger residents leaving due to limited affordable housing and employment opportunities, and of course, ongoing transportation challenges. External economic pressures are also creating uncertainty, particularly with respect to tourism, investment, and cross-border economic activity. With the experience and skill sets I bring, I am confident I have the ability to contribute thoughtful ideas, work collaboratively with council to help strengthen these strategies. Before concluding, I'd like to address one final point. For those of you who may feel the vacancy should only be filled by someone residing within the ward affected, I would respectfully note that the application criteria itself does not identify ward residency as a requirement. I would therefore ask members of council to ensure that personal preferences or perceived political convenience does not influence your process. As many of you have experienced firsthand, sitting at this table and making difficult decisions extends far beyond simply representing one ward. You represent the township as a whole. That is something I learned very quickly during my own term on council. In fact, I spent considerable amount of time responding to calls, emails, and concerns from residents outside the ward I was elected, including within this very ward. Because the responsibility of the council is to serve the entire township. Throughout both my service on council and my campaigns, I have walked, biked, and driven across virtually every part of this township, covering hundreds of kilometers of roadways and laneways, and in the process, met thousands of residents throughout our community. I believe residents ultimately care less about the ward a councillor comes from and more about whether the individual serves the interests of the township fairly, responsibly, and effectively. In closing, I fully recognize the importance of professionalism, mutual respect, and collaboration, even where differences of opinion come in play. I am committed to fostering that environment and working constructively towards shared goals for the betterment of the township. With just over 5 months remaining before the end of the next municipal council, council has an opportunity to fill this vacancy with someone who understands the role, the responsibility, and the importance of continuity. I would encourage you to look beyond the name or the face before you, and instead consider my experience, my commitment, and my long-standing dedication to this community. My goal is simple: to continue serving this township, this time once again from within these chambers. I'd like to thank all of you and the candidates behind me willing to represent our township. Thank you.
Are there any questions for the candidate?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And through you, I'm just wondering if, because 4 years goes by so fast, I'm just wondering if you could choose one thing that you didn't get to in your first term that you wish you had, what would that be?
You know, Krista, the one thing I was hoping that nobody would do was ask me a question, and there's a reason why. My hearing aids quit when I walked in this room, but I want to answer your question because I think it's important, especially since you took the time, which I appreciate, by the way, to ask. So could I ask somebody to either come forward or Krista? I'm sorry, Councillor, I should be not calling you Krista.
No, that's okay. Can you hear me if I speak up?
Yes, I'll do my best.
Okay. I'm just wondering if there was one thing that you didn't accomplish in your 4 years that you wish you had, what would it be?
A better rapport with my colleagues.
Are there any other questions for the candidate? I have no hands up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next person on the list is Andrew Logan.
Test, test. Oh. Good evening, Mayor, members of council, and clerk. Thank you for your continued service to our community and the time and dedication you bring to your roles. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the other applicants here this evening. Their willingness to step forward speaks to a shared commitment to the future of our township. I'd also like to recognize long-serving councillor Jeff Lackey for his more than 15 years of dedicated service to our community and his enduring work in local leadership. My name is Andrew, and I'm here to express my interest in serving as Ward 1 councillor. My decision to apply is rooted in a passion for public service and in a belief that I can contribute practical experience and a thoughtful, common-sense approach to council at a crucially important time for the township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands. I'm motivated by a genuine desire to see our neighborhoods continue to flourish and ensure they remain a vibrant place for our current and future generations. I bring hands-on experience in government operations, having worked at Queen's Park in the office of a rural Eastern Ontario MPP, and later in the office of the Minister of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs. These roles provided direct exposure to the legislative process, rural priorities, and the realities facing communities like ours. As Chief of Staff, I drafted legislation, led policy development, and maintained constituency engagement, ensuring local voices were reflected in decision-making. I engaged directly with families through riding events, newsletters, social media, and constituent casework, helping keep the electorate informed, supported, and connected to government developments. In my role at the Ministry of Agriculture, Food and Rural Affairs, I worked at the intersection of policy, communication, and constituent priorities. I led the advancement of the Liquor License Amendment Act, working with the Office of the Premier and members of Parliament on strategy, communications, and legislative progress. Bill 184 enabled maple wine and mead producers to sell at farmers markets, supporting rural businesses and value-added agriculture. I championed this initiative and secured cross-partisan votes to move it forward. I subsequently joined the Alcohol and Gaming Commission of Ontario, first as communications advisor, then in the policy division. I crafted policy, advanced regulatory initiatives, and provided strategic communications advice. I led the development of a new social gaming license, allowing local legions and Rotary clubs to host regulated gambling-related fundraiser events. This created responsible revenue opportunities for rural communities like ours, while maintaining oversight and public trust. At the AGCO, I proudly received the Winning Spirit Award, recognizing integrity, accountability, and commitment to the public interest. These values continue to guide me today. In my current role in personal finance, I partner with members of our community to help in making informed financial decisions, grounded in empathy, honesty, and accountability. This provides me a firsthand look at how government choices shape household finances, small business, and the challenges of the daily cost of living. My approach to public sector engagement is supported by a firm foundation in education and continuous learning, with a degree in political science and sociology, and having completed professional certification in inclusivity, public relations, Indigenous cultural safety, accessibility, and emotional intelligence. My enthusiasm for lifelong learning reflects my dedication to representation that is informed, ethical, and inclusive. I believe thoughtful decision-making depends on constant growth and an openness to diverse perspectives. I also bring a proud record of accomplishment in charitable and civic engagement. I served as a deputy returning officer right here in Lansdowne, supporting a fair, accessible, and trusted federal voting process. I've assisted local businesses in navigating government funding opportunities, volunteered with the Royal Canadian Legion, ran in the local sponsored 5K, raised funds for the Royal Ottawa Mental Health Center, contributed to Big Brothers organization, donated to the local Humane Society, led fundraising initiatives of the United Way, and sponsored athletes in Canadian Cancer Society events. I step forward at a crucial time as the township experiences meaningful transformation. My track record across government, regulatory environments, and client-facing work strengthens my ability to analyze complex issues, balance competing priorities, and focus on practical outcomes. If given the opportunity to serve, I bring a constructive and collaborative approach to council, grounded in ethical governance. I recognize the importance of transparency and responsibility in this role, and can deliver a fresh, new voice to council, as well as the time and energy required to fully dedicate myself to representing our friends and neighbors. I'm ready to embrace this privilege with professionalism, integrity, and commitment to the residents of Ward 1. It would be an honor to work alongside you in contributing to the ongoing success of our township of the Leeds and the Thousand Islands. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions for the candidate? I have no hands up. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next is Clark Olson.
Hi, folks.
Can you hear me okay? Let's see how that works. Hi, I'm Clark. I put my name forward because I'm, well, interested in this community. for lots of reasons. Firstly, I grew up here, born and raised here in the front of Young, actually, rather than others. My family's been rooted here since the 1700s, so there's a bit of lineage and history, and a number of places are named after their family. So I feel some sense of commitment to the region, and I thoroughly enjoy this space. Moved away for a while, came back. I moved away for about 25 years and came back recently. This is the place I want to retire. This is the place I want to spend my time. And about me, I started my career here. Went to university, came back. I worked in a community involvement capacity out of the Brockville and District Association for community involvement. I supported families with developmental disabilities for more than a decade. Followed a career path that took me into Petawawa, Pembroke, and as an executive director for a period of time with the Community Living Association. Went to, and that is a transfer payment agency. So that transfer payment agency reports to a volunteer board of directors. So I'm familiar with that process. Went to the greater GTA and worked directly with the ministry, a provincial ministry, to establish a single point of access for families who had children with disabilities. And that single point of access would be where an intake process would happen for families to access 21 service agencies in the region. So I'm pretty familiar with the social infrastructure for children's mental health and developmental services. So that is a passion of mine. It always has been. But moving from there, I moved to a federal ministry and working with the employment insurance, essentially. And I wrote employment programs for the developmental service, or for people that were collecting employment insurance. That was a federal ministry. I worked with them for a number of years. It led to other things where I ended up working internationally. I spent a lot of time in the Middle East working for CEDA, Canadian International Development Agency. So leading projects for employment options, working primarily in Egypt, but other regions as well. So it was an interesting time for me. I've had the ability to see other cultures, communities, cultures, places around the world. I still came back here to retire. It's probably the most wonderful place in the world, in my opinion. That said, I started teaching for Sheridan College about 20 years ago. I have a background in, undergrad in sociology, social welfare, business administration, and a certified human resource professional. I taught for Sheridan College for 20 plus years. And I was able to share my life experiences. I was able to network with many corporate leaders and share their experiences and have them be guest speakers in my classes for students that were pursuing a career in the profession of human resources. So it's those skill sets, that leadership, that communication, that cooperation that I can bring to council, I hope, should you choose me, that's great. I work from a process of I guess, collecting data, information. I'm fairly calculated in my decision-making process. I work collaboratively with others, and I do my best to research to the degree that I feel comfortable with making a decision. And hearing the voices of as many others as possible to help shape that decision is something I tend to do naturally. And so that's the way I tend to work. Maybe that's the HR, maybe that's the human service sector, but that is who I am. So that's how I try to manage and work through that process. Priorities for council. I mean, I'd like to see some more activity. Another gentleman spoke about the healthcare, and I'd like to see and offering interest-free loans to set that up. I have a number of ideas how I think we should be looking to recruit healthcare for the region. I think it's probably one of the greatest vacancies that we have in this community. I've been here for 3 years and do not have a local doctor. My doctor is still in Burlington, and I call them remotely. So that's problematic. And so I'd like to find if we can do things about that. But there's a moral and ethical kind of decision-making around that process as well, that I'm happy to have a conversation with any of you afterwards, and whether you choose me or not. But, there's processes there that I'd really like to explore further to recruit people to this region in a moral and ethical way. Okay. The asset management is a priority for council. It always is. I don't know if there's a municipality in the region or in the country, especially Ontario anyway, that is fully funded for their asset management plan. I think this is rated one of the better ones in the region, across the province, and so that always needs to be a priority for council as well. Okay. Do you have any other questions? This is where I'm at.
Are there questions for the candidate? We don't have any hands up, but
All
thank
right.
you very much.
Well, just my last closing, I guess, then, if there's no other questions, is that, I mean, an obvious decision would be to take somebody with direct council experience, and I think that would be a wise thing to do. My ask is that you use this as a developmental role. There's an opportunity here for using this 5-month stint as a realistic job preview. And I'd encourage you to think about that, appointing somebody who could benefit from having the exposure for 5 months and grow from that, and determine whether or not this role is something that they were willing to put a campaign forward and sit out a full term after the October election.
Okay.
That's okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Our next candidate is Todd Robertson.
Good evening and hello, and thank you for the opportunity to apply for this council vacancy. As others have mentioned, a special thanks to Jeff Lackey for his many years of serving the residents of TLTI. Congratulations as well to all the other applicants. I applaud you forwarding your name to serve the community. My name is Todd Robertson. I live in Ward 1 on Cliff Road with my wife, Nicole, and an assortment of canine companions. I moved to the Thousand Islands area 13 years ago. We have 2 married daughters who live in Kingston and British Columbia, respectively. I was born and raised in the Emily Township area, which is now the city of Kawartha Lakes, and it's a rural municipality similar to the makeup of TLTI. I've lived and worked in Eastern Ontario for my entire life. I would also like to note that I'm a devoted lifelong Montreal Canadiens fan who, given the playoff game tonight, might sneak a check at the score during breaks. Just a heads up. I too have been in this seat before, expressing my interest to serve on council, and my reasons for applying pretty much remain the same. To continue to do my part to make our community a better place to live. I look to represent the values, the beliefs, the priorities of the residents of TLTI, and to support staff in the effective and fiscally responsible operation of the municipality. Personally, I come from a family of public servants. My mother was a municipal councillor. My father spent 40 years in the fire service. Other family members are police officers, college and university educators. As a young adult, I was also elected to serve as a municipal councillor in the aforementioned city of Kawartha Lakes. It wasn't called that back then. It's my desire to continue to build upon our family's legacy of public service. I would also note that I was planning to run for a Ward 1 councillor in the fall 2026 elections, and so this vacancy provides an opportunity to get a head start on seeking that role and providing service to the community. In terms of strengths from my professional and personal life. As noted in the document that I submitted with my application, I currently represent the citizens of TLTI and the Leeds, Lanark, and Grenville counties in 4 separate forums. I'm the vice chair of the Committee of Adjustment for TLTI. I'm a trustee with the Upper Canada District School Board. I'm the vice chair of the Board of Directors for Leeds, Lanark, Grenville Addictions and Mental Health. And I'm a community representative with the Leeds County OPP Detachment Service Board. These experiences, excuse me, have strengthened my existing competencies in the areas of governance, financial and political acuity, while also increasing my awarenesses of the challenges facing this part of Ontario. I've also developed professional relationships with a strong network of experts and municipal leaders. As I also noted in the document, I bring knowledge and experience from a long career as a director in the Ontario Public Service with the Solicitor General of Ontario, where I represented the government both provincially and nationally. So these accomplishments and skills are all fine to list, but how do they translate to the role of counselor? To start, they've allowed me to develop a foundational skill set comprised of an excellent knowledge of how all 3 levels of government work, especially where they intersect, an awareness of the importance of gathering as many facts as possible to make evidence-based decisions, how vital it is for all organizations to have strong financial stewardship, both now and for the future, extensive community engagement experience with a variety of diverse stakeholder groups, the importance of building and following proper processes in all aspects of governance and service delivery, and the ability to deliver successful results in complex, high-profile situations. So in short, I would hope to bring a steady, pragmatic approach to my council position, working collaboratively with colleagues and municipal staff to maximize the delivery of quality, cost-effective services to TLTI residents. Turning our thoughts to issues, really whatever the issue is that comes before council, whether it be infrastructure needs to support economic development or housing or roads, water and sewer, an aging population, or even just enhancing the baseline quality of life for everyone. There should be a balance between planning for the future and the preservation of rural lands and the small town country way of life that we as township residents have been graced with. When I first moved here, I was heartened at how quickly I made friends, at the warm welcome I received from everyone. That is something we do not want to lose. The phrase, honor the past, live in the present, and prepare for the future comes to mind. With no aspersions at all to the current council, 2 of the most important overarching issues facing this or any township are money and trust. The skyrocketing cost of living, people are struggling to maintain their standard of life, having to decide what they can and cannot afford. TLTI as a municipality is not exempt from that pressure, trying to deliver the same level of service with reduced buying power and the same or less revenue coming in. It's vital to make astute budgetary decisions driven by data and grounded in common sense. TLTI must also continue to make its voice heard loud and clear in seeking provincial and federal funding. These are 2 areas I have experience in and I believe would be an asset to council. Making proper financial decisions must occur in tandem with trust from the residents who are impacted by them. Effective communication both to and from citizens has to be a cornerstone of local government. I believe that when combined with transparent processes, a mutually respectful relationship is achievable. In most decisions, some may be disappointed with the result. But if that decision was based on facts and listening to the community, it will lead to a more cohesive delivery of services and people feeling that their voices were heard. In summary, I thank you for your time and the opportunity to again be involved in this process. I'll bring a consistent, dependable, informed voice to this table. I may not have all the answers, but I have a strong work ethic, the ability to ask the right questions, and to listen to input from others, all to ensure that the right choices are made even when they are difficult ones. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you have questions for the candidate? Go ahead.
Yes, thank you. And through you, thank you for your presentation. I noticed in your application, you mentioned a partial term on council. So I was just wondering if you could shed some light on that. Was it completing a term that was vacant, or was it an early departure?
No, so I was elected through the regular municipal election process. And then for employment reasons, I had to relocate out of the municipality, which unfortunately meant that I had to step down from my role.
Thank you.
Any other questions for the candidate? Thank you very much. Our next candidate is Ellis Stevenson.
I had, when I was in grade 12, I was asked to read a poem, and I read words that weren't even on the sheet. So I was so nervous I couldn't even read. So I've tried to be more comfortable with public speaking. I've done my best. So in 1974, I purchased a farm on Sand Bay Road in Leeds and Lansdowne Township, and I developed the property into a dairy farm. I resided there for many years with my wife at the time, raised 7 children, while children were involved with local 4-H club at the fair and all the other stuff that goes on. They enjoyed living in Lansdowne and have made friends to this day. They still have the same friends. During that time, I volunteered at the Recreation Department, participating in fundraising activities, supporting the farm or the Learn to Swim program. Marion McLeod was the counselor. She was my boss at the time. We bought playground equipment with money we raised, and I also volunteered to do the weekly bingo with Mrs. Ron Griffin's first wife, who passed away. It was held at the community center. My wife and I also published a monthly community newsletter for a considerable length of time. In 1986, my wife received a lucrative promotion at the employment center, and we needed to relocate to Peterborough. As a result, I moved my family to Peterborough, where I purchased and renovated 2 farms. During my years there, I raised beef cattle and Arabian horses. Also, I operated a used car lot, which I run out of Peterborough on Park Hill Road for 2 years. But due to family obligations and trying to renovate this farm, I ran out of time, so something had to go. In 97, my family and I moved to Kingston, where I was active member of the Kingston Gospel Temple. And I also served, I belonged to the St. Andrew's Presbyterian Church, and we fed street people. And the last meal I served was 144 people from who come in from the street. And then I did the same kind of work in Peterborough. I raised turkeys for the food bank, and I took them in there on Thanksgiving. And I belonged to the New Canadian Center in Peterborough. We went to Toronto, picked up people who knew people who came to Canada, picked them up, tell them where the doctor was, and drive them around Peterborough to get them used to where they were going to live. In 2011, I moved to Lyndhurst and retired. I got tired of fixing houses and volunteered at the 504 Legion out of the vice president for 3 years and president for 7 years. During that time, we did many improvements to the building and put in the air conditioner and a new furnace and all that kind of stuff. I volunteered most of my life somewhere doing something. We did dances at the Legion, and we did free. Anybody at a wedding or a funeral, it was always free, because I always felt that it was I always felt obligated to the township because we got a grant, and I felt that the people in the township had a stake in that Legion because their taxes helped us out. So everything that I did there there was no charge. So I think that's the first volunteer job I had. I was in grade 6, and there's a little girl there with took epileptic fits, and they put her behind me. I was choosing grade 4. They put her behind me, and she'd sit behind me and sharpen her pencil and poke me in the back. I knew it was time to go. So we'd both get up and walk. She lived about a half a mile from the school. We'd both get up and walk out, and I took her home. That changed my life. It changed my way of thinking like you wouldn't believe. It was amazing.
Are there any questions for the candidate? I don't have any hands up. Thank you. The next candidate is Michael Tao.
Good evening. Can you hear me all right? Good evening, Mayor and members of council and staff. I appreciate the opportunity and the privilege to be here this evening. It would seem I have the unenviable task of being the last to speak, or maybe enviable task, I'm not sure. But I'll try to be brief and keep my comments to no more than an hour or two. So I'm asking for your consideration for my candidacy for Ward 1 for council this evening. Before you tonight, as others have mentioned, you have a room full of great candidates working in municipal government. What a great sign of a vibrant municipality with so many people interested in serving and people who care about this municipality. And I honestly don't think you could make a poor choice here tonight. But clearly I'm sitting here, so I'm still asking you to consider my candidacy. So for most of my career, I've lived and breathed municipal government, local government. So having worked in public works, volunteering in the fire department, working as a CAO. I've worked in a landfill in the back of a garbage truck, doing traffic control for road construction, project managed new buildings, fire halls, plowed snow. Worked to lobby federal and provincial governments for funding and for partnerships for municipal priorities. I have intimate experience into many of the tasks that are asked of staff at all levels in a municipality. I have connections at various levels of government that I've built over the years, and I know how to get things done. So that's my resume, but why do I want to serve on council here, and why am I here before you tonight? So there's a couple of reasons. One, you could say it's in my blood. My uncle is just wrapping up a 42-year career in municipal government elsewhere in Leeds and Grenville. Before him, my grandfather served for 22 years as councillor in Reeve. Not to mention, like some of the other candidates here tonight, relatives working for other municipalities, serving on fire departments, nursing, military. So I come from a family, again, like others, that are dedicated to serving their communities. Then the second reason, I worked for this township about a decade ago. Sometimes it seems like yesterday, and then I feel old, but So both in public works and serving on the volunteer fire department at the station out back. At the time, I lived in Kingston and commuted here every day. But when I worked here, I fell in love with this community, both its people and its geography and its natural beauty. I truly believe at that time and still today, this is one of the most beautiful spots in the province and the country to live. So it took me a little bit and a couple life changes. But last fall, my wife and I moved here with our 2 teenage boys, one of whom is here for moral support tonight. And we've started investing our blood, sweat, and tears, and no tears yet, just blood and sweat, I guess, into the land and into our woodlot to put down roots, both figuratively and literally. So we came here for what this community has to offer. And in meeting neighbors down our road, I found that we're not the only ones. So while we may have just moved here last year, I can tell you from working here, I've been here on every road in this municipality, through every municipal building, on the islands, and every back corner of this beautiful township. So I was at an event last week where I had the opportunity to reconnect with our local MPP, and who I've known for years. I commented that we had just moved to the promised land, into his riding here in Leeds and Thousand Islands. So I know somewhat facetious, yes, but I also believe that to be true about Leeds and Thousand Islands. So whether it's a neighbor down the road with a popular farm stand who's been here forever, or another neighbor that I talked to that just moved his family here from the GTA, because they're looking for what we have to offer here in Leeds and Thousand Islands, or the local contractor that's quite possibly still at my house right now working, or the person who owns a piece of paradise on an island. So we're all here living, working, playing, raising our families in this beautiful place. So when I first came to this township a decade ago to work, I knew very quickly this is where I belonged, living here. So I'm asking for your consideration tonight and for the opportunity to join council for the rest of this term to help continuing to make this a place where people feel like they belong, where they find that same passion, where they come here and feel like this is where they need to be, where they have a future and a community where others fall in love with it as much as I did a decade ago. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Questions from council? We have no hands up.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So that concludes the candidates' submissions. So, Madam Clerk, I'm going to put this back in your hands.
Thank you, Your Worship. For members of council, I'm just going to put all of the names up on the screen so you don't have to guess. There you go. And I will be around with ballots. Just one moment. Bear with me.
Yeah. So while the clerk is tallying the ballots, I just wanted to say thank you to each one of the candidates who took the time to prepare and be here and submit your name. As has been discussed earlier this evening, putting your name forward and wishing to be on council isn't everybody's dream job, but it's for some folks. And I do appreciate the fact that everyone who chose to put their name forward did so with great care, and the willingness to serve. So thank you very much for being part of the process. As it also has been mentioned, there will be an election this fall. So if for some reason you aren't the successful candidate this evening, please, I encourage each and every one of you to consider running in this fall's election. Is there any other comments from council? Go ahead, Councillor Leclerc.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to echo the sentiment that thank you all for coming. It's not always easy to get up and not just in front of us, but everyone else that's watching and pour your heart out. But we have exceptional talent and heart in our township, and we should all be very pleased and proud of that. So thank you again for coming.
Is there any other comments from council before the clerk? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through you, I'll echo some of the sentiments of my colleague, Councillor Leclerc. You all know when you put your name forward, you're filling the big boots of Jeff Lackey, literally and figuratively. But you've been successful. I was quite thrilled to see that we had not only the, the number of 7 of you that put your name forward, but the quality of those you applying. As Krista said, it speaks volumes to this township. I too echo the sentiment that we're only, unfortunately, picking one person here tonight. It hasn't fallen deaf on me that you 7 candidates there could easily fill the 7 seats here. So please put your name forward for this fall's election if you so desire. And I wish you success both now and in the fall. Thank you.
Madam Clerk, unless there's anybody else from council that would like to make a comment. My apologies. Go ahead.
That's okay. Through you, Your Worship. I'll go through each councillor's vote in alphabetical order of council member. So Councillor Antoine Hartley voted for Andrew Logan. Deputy Mayor Fody voted for Todd Robertson. Councillor Kalman voted for Todd Robertson. Councillor Leclerc voted for Michael Tao. Councillor Mabey voted for Todd Robertson. And Mayor Smith-Gatzke voted for Todd Robertson.
Thank you. So the successful candidate was Todd Robertson.
That's correct.
Thank you. So thank you again for all who have put your name forward. Keep in mind also, we have vacancies on other committees. So just because you weren't successful this evening, we're still looking for candidates for Committee of Adjustment, I believe. Yes. Sorry. But the point being also, we have other committees that serve with OPP Service Board, as well as Cataraqui. There's lots of opportunities. So even though you may not have been successful, there are other avenues. So just leave it at there. So with that, we'll go forward with the motion moved by Councillor Mabey, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody, that the individuals who have signified in writing that they are legally qualified to hold office and consented to accept the office if they are appointed to fill the council vacancy be considered for appointment to fill such vacancy. That the following candidate interview and the voting process, council appoints Todd Robertson to the vacant seat on council for the remainder of this term, and that bylaw number 2026-24 be given first and second reading. Discussion on the motion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it's carried. Thank you very much. And you're welcome to stay for the rest of the proceedings. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, you go ahead. Thank you. Well, thank you. So, Mr. Robertson, we'll have you sit here tonight, but for the edification of the folks that are watching, Mr. Robertson can't be sworn in until the next meeting, so he doesn't necessarily have voting rights yet. But we'll just let him get a feel for the chair and how it might shake out. So next item on the agenda is motion comes forward from Councillor Maybe, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody, that April the 13th, 2026 council meeting minutes and the May 4th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting minutes be adopted as circulated, and that the March 31st, 2026 committee of adjustment meeting minutes be received and filed. Discussion on the motion. Are there any errors or omissions that you can see? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. Next item is staff reports, moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Antoine Hartley, that the council approve the staff reports as recommended at the May 4th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting. Oh, yes, sorry, my apologies, Monique, if you could leave the room. It's all right. Good news is we still have quorum, otherwise we would have had to swear in Mr. Robertson. Okay. So, motion is on the floor to accept staff reports.
Is that the motion? Is this the motion?
Oh, sorry, right, so I need a seconder for this motion as Councillor Claire. Thank you so much. Okay, so staff reports, which include Heritage Act designations, 2026 Community Grant Spring Intake, Youth Bursary Award, Cemetery Grant Program, Pickleball Expansion Request, Facility Court and Field Booking Allocation, and capital budget for acquisition of a trailer. So any specific things in any of those reports that need to be further discussed? Okay, in the CAO, the acting. There were some questions about the grants based on some correspondence. Oh, so there was some. Okay. I think that the discussion. Sorry, just hang on. I'll just pause for a second. So there was a late request that came in from one of the groups that was not successful in the ask for their community grants in the spring intake, and they had contacted Councillor Kelman. So with the blessing of council, we'll remove the community grants from the staff reports and consider that separately. So I need an amendment to, with the exception of 12.2. Can I have a mover for that? Okay. And a seconder for that, Deputy Mayor Fody. Okay, I'll call the question on the amendment to withhold 12.2 2026 community grant spring intake for further discussion. Okay, all those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. Yeah, it's weird with only so many hands. Okay, no, we'll pass this one. We've only done the amendment. So moved by Deputy Mayor Fody, seconded by Councillor Leclerc. The amended motion reads that the council approve the staff reports as recommended at the May 4th, 2026 committee of the whole meeting, with the exception of 12.2. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'd also like to pull out 12.5 to vote separately if possible. That's what I think it is.
Pickleball expansion request. Okay. So I need a further amendment to the motion. So 12.5. So that's Leclerc is making that. Somebody want to second that? Okay, maybe. So the amendment is with the exception of 12.5 to be pulled from the reports. Any discussion on that amendment? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor of the amendment? Okay. Any opposed? There's none opposed, so that's carried. So the amended motion, sorry, it's all right. It's, I don't know what it is about today, but anyway, The amended motion is that council approve the staff reports as recommended at the May 4th, 2026 Committee of the Whole meeting with the exception of 12.2 and 12.5 for further discussion after. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it is carried. Okay. So we'll ask councillors Antoine Hartley and no. Yeah. Oh, yes, yes. Sorry, we're just getting Councillor Kelman. Thank you for keeping me in line. So Councillor Kelman, I'm glad you spoke up prior to being kicked out of the room. So now we are going to consider a motion to discuss the 2026 community grant spring intake. We remove that from the consent agenda. So can I have a blank piece of paper? Thank you. Thank you. So moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Deputy Mayor Fody, that council accept the report for 12.2, the community grants. Okay, discussion is available now. Go ahead, Councillor Kelman, if you wanted to bring something up.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through you, I actually had resolved my issues with this. Sorry. Oh, is it? Thank you to the CAO, the acting CAO. Yeah, I spoke to staff regarding my concerns about this, and I am comfortable with approving it as it is.
Okay. So are there any other community grants that we have any concerns with or otherwise before we accept the proposed successful applications? Okay, so I'll call the question. All those in favor? All those opposed? And it is carried. Okay, so community grants is good. Now we go on to the 12.5, which is the pickleball. Okay. And so Councillor Leclerc, somebody wanted to second the motion so that we can get it on the floor? Councillor maybe? Okay. So this is to accept the report and the recommendation that was made at Committee of the Whole was, sorry. Too many sheets of paper. So pickleball court expansion request, recreation working group supplementary report. So discussion on that. Go ahead, Councillor Leclerc.
Thank you. No, I just wanted to pull it out to be consistent with my voting, as I was not supportive of this at Committee of the Whole or previous when it came to council. So,
Okay.
Thank you.
That's fair. Is there any further discussion on the pickleball court expansion request? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? I have one and, oh, two. Sorry, my apologies. I looked back towards you. Still carries, so. Okay. Next item on the agenda is action required items. Moved by Councillor Leclerc. You're gonna, every time it looks a little bit different. Seconded by Councillor Kelman. Councillor maybe is very similar by times, so I have to be careful. That the Committee of the Whole recommend that council appoint blank to the Committee of Adjustment. So with that, we had folks that had put forward their name for Committee of Adjustments to be considered. So the motion is now on the floor and up for discussion. Somebody's going to have to go first. It's, hang on here. Yeah, so I just needed to look at the second one. So it's Andrew Logan is the first one and Royal Metcalf, thank you. Royal Metcalf have put forward their applications. So, go ahead, Councillor Martin.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. Both candidates really did look good on the in their resumes that they sent in. I was actually kind of looking forward to possibly them even being present for this particular part of the
Meeting.
meeting. Yes, that's it. I knew there was another word I wanted there. I appreciate that. But certainly having a vital member on this particular committee, and I know that our newest counselor has sat on that committee also. So, and in reading some of the briefs that they have put out, you understand the complexity of some of the asks that are going on in part with our building department as well as the planning department. So it's a vital role for whoever is chosen. So to that point, are we choosing this person?
So
tonight?
you have to tell me whether you would choose Andrew or Royal.
Andrew.
Okay. So I have one Andrew. Mr. Fode? Okay, so Mr. Logan, that's two. Go ahead. Oh, sorry, we need your microphones on, so nobody can hear online.
Through you, Chair. I would agree, Andrew Logan, after hearing him speak to this evening, I think he would be a great candidate for there.
Okay, so I have three for Mr. Logan. Ms. Kelman?
I feel the same. I agree with Mr. Logan.
Ms. Leclerc?
Mr. Logan, thank you.
Okay, so that's unanimous. So I'm going to fill that in. Yeah, it's too bad he didn't stick around. So that the committee of the whole recommend that council appoint Andrew Logan to the Committee of Adjustment. Any further? Oh. So it's that council recommend that council appoint, or it should be that council appoint. Sorry, I didn't go far enough with my stroke out there. That council appoint Andrew Logan to the Committee of Adjustment. All those in favor? Any opposed? That's carried. I know it's hard to keep your hand down, Mr. Robertson. It's force of habit, right? So congratulations to Mr. Logan on his appointment. Mr. Robertson continues to serve on the committee at this point, unless he tells us something different, which is up for a discussion at another time. But just so that the public is aware, council members are permitted to sit on Committee of Adjustment should you wish to. Mr. Lackey served on the Committee of Adjustment at one point as well, just for refreshing. Okay. The next one is moved by Councillor Leclerc, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that Administration Report 2026-012 Leeds County OPP Detachment Board Community Member appointment be received, and that the Council of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands approve the recommendation of the Leeds County OPP Detachment Board to appoint Jeff Lackey to the board as an at-large community member representative for the remainder of the term. So obviously, Mr. Lackey is well acquainted with the board. He's already sat as council. It's an easy transition and it's a small time commitment comparative to the council commitment. So he was very eager to remain on the board, as words to me. Is there any comments or questions in regards to this motion? Seeing I'm going to call the question. All those in favor? Any opposed? And it's carried. So staff reports for information items. So there is the review of the election sign bylaw. Please pay attention if you're going to run in the fall. As of right now, I think I'm the only one that's filed. Oh, congratulations. Okay, race is on. It is very important that we understand this bylaw to make sure that we don't get ourselves into trouble about where we're placing signs. So please review that. And if you have any questions, please ask the clerk. Moving on, there are no other information items, announcements or statements from councillors. Go ahead, Councillor Maybe, and then Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you. As you all know, I attended in Ottawa for the Ontario Guild of Town Criers Championships over the weekend. And there were a total of 14 of us there, 13 actually participating in the championship. And our MC, who is Danielle from Ottawa, did a spectacular job with Princess Margaret there from the Netherlands to address the crowds. And there were thousands of people there. And he is totally bilingual, so it was an easy transition for him to move from one language to another, which was very appreciated by the complete crowd that was there. And we had the opportunity to meet her in kind of person in a way, but also to present our cries from that stage. And with the large crowds, it was quite a change from last year where we didn't have as many, but equally as important by all the criers, and they appreciated that also, and actually have complimented us again on our crier championships in Gananoque and how well it went. So again, some of you were judges at that particular championship. So again, I thank you for that, but it certainly was a great time, great turnout. And Chris Wyman won first place again. And Chris is a great town crier. There's hands down, he deserved the win easily. Second was Bruce Kruger, who some of you may have seen him do Wyerton Willie. He is the crier for that, as well as Bracebridge and Santa's Village. And then Bill McKee, which the judges would know, he was the crier who came and helped teach the judges how to actually judge. So it was actually quite an interesting group, but certainly some great people there. And the Tulip Festival, if you've never been, you have to go sometime in your life. It was amazing. And Councillor Kelman surprised me by being there for the first cry. So thank you very much for the visit there. And now she had a son in the city too. So, but they both came over to help cheer us all on. So it was a great time. And again, thank you for that. So moving on, let's see. The May holiday is coming up this weekend. That's right. It is. Yeah. And I noticed last week when I was leaving, and I know provincially I get a lot of flag lowering and raising acquisitions. I noticed that it wasn't lowered for the OPP officer who had passed away last week, and the funeral was on Thursday. And we had the mandate to have all our flags down until sunset of the funeral day. So I'm just wondering whether there's some way I could certainly pass on all the flag raising and lowerings that I get as a provincial site so that we may not miss those again if it's in our mandate to do those ones.
If you feel so inclined to forward it on to the clerk, if it's appropriate, then we
Yes.
could do it. Because your provincial building, obviously that is
Yeah.
part of the mandate there.
Yeah.
Not to say that we don't obviously provide our condolences to the OPP officer
Yes.
who was lost. But if nothing else, then we have a steady stream of information that's coming from the province.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
certainly no.
I can do that easily. I get it
Okay.
more often than not. And then I do have one other item that I'd like to bring up. In the bush or brush clearing along the roadways, I had a resident call me and say that some of the debris that's being cut through the brush clearing machinery is breaking fences, which is compromising cattle getting out of their fenced areas and or damaging electric fences. So I know that that was a major concern by this particular resident, and I'm just wondering if this is happening on anywhere else, and that we need to minimize that type of behavior if we can, because the fences are typically back at the fence line.
So I'll have the
Yeah.
CAO. We've
Yep.
actually been
Yep.
looking over this,
Yep.
the use of this machine and how it gets used in the future.
Thank you through you. I would note that we have had a number of residents contact us regarding some of the brushing. I believe that most of the brushing that is to be completed this spring is completed so far. What you've just mentioned in terms of fencing is the first that I have heard of any of those concerns. Any concerns around brushing should go to Aaron Hatton, our manager of roads. That is clearly a very important concern to be addressed. Any residents that do have concerns, though, they should contact us directly so that for a situation like that, that needs to be addressed
Yeah.
in short order.
Yeah.
And so if we aren't made aware of it, we can't rectify the
Yeah.
situation.
This was just this week, so.
So
it's-
I have asked the
Yeah.
director or the
Yeah.
manager to prepare a report for council that I think
Yes.
will help answer some questions, because I myself and the mayor, we went down a road where we had received some concerns to see what was going on. And it is definitely, it creates an impact on the roadway, absolutely. There's some roads where there hasn't been brushing done for a long period of time. And in those areas where the brushing is being done, there's a significant impact, and I can understand why residents
Yeah.
are expressing some concerns about that. So I felt that was important that we bring a report forward to council to show examples of roads where brushing hasn't been done for some time, to actually show what the impact is, because it is important to understand what that impact is, and then to show some images of roads that have been brushed in the last year or two to show how the areas
Yes.
recover. So that will be being brought forward to council in the next month or so for information. But if there are things we need to follow up on right away, please either send it to myself or Aaron Hatton so that we can make sure it's addressed.
I will.
Or put it
Yeah.
through the reported function,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because then it's logged
Yeah.
and it has to be addressed.
Yeah, this gentleman just called me yesterday, so that's why I brought it up tonight. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead, Deputy Mayor Fode.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. With regards to the brushing, I've had the discussion with a few people. They have to realize that back about 40 years ago, residents were absolutely opposed, and it was a growing trend, and still would be today, even more so, that they stopped spraying, weedside spraying. And that led to no spraying in the township, but not only that, there was no brushing done for decades. Thus, the growth grew out. What was a sprig of a tree became a small tree, became a 3-foot oak, and that is what happens. And I get it. I've heard the comments too about the, how things look. They wouldn't look like that had spraying or brushing been kept up from 40 years ago to today. Nobody'd be nearly offended if that same oak tree was nipped off at 2 feet in height. But I don't need to tell anybody at this table, as speaking to the choir, why our roads have to be kept cleared back for a handful of reasons. And as for an electric fence, that's up to the landowner to put colored ribbons on electric fence periodically about every 50 feet, but don't make it green, make it pink, red, yellow, something that catches the eye of the person operating the machine. Electric fence is a very hard fence to see at the best of times. Cattle know it's there, but if you're brushing the road, you're looking likely for everything else, a stone that's about to wreck your machine. But there is a secondary I want to add. Our new brushing machine has reach height about the height of this room. We've never had that before because it sits on that new brusher, the new brusher sits on that mobile
Rubber tire
excavator that we have. And not only has the power, it has the reach. So people are seeing a different look. But once that greenery comes on, which it will now with plant growth, it won't look quite as bad. And by next year, a lot of it will dissipate. And the shredded on the ground, well, it'll do the same. Thank you.
Yeah. Go ahead, Councillor Antoine Hartley.
Thank you, through you, Chair. So last week I attended the Parks Canada Zoom meeting on the Brass Point Bridge. So it's looking like from near the end of June, they said they didn't have an exact date, but they would give us 2 weeks notice of the closure of the bridge, and it will be closed until December 2027.
Okay, before you go any further,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Fire Chief, can you add something to this? Because this also has to do with
Yep.
public safety.
Through your worship, I'm preparing a automatic gate agreement currently with South Frontenac Fire. So they've already been taking care of the other side of the waterway because we haven't been able to get across that bridge with a large truck and longer than I've been here and much more time before that. Our only way around to that area is to go up through Jones's Falls or go down across the other way. So we've already got them on on the call. As soon as there's a call through Brockville, they'll be responding automatically, and we'll follow up as we do with the other automatic aid agreements.
So is our goal to put something out to the public to let them know that that coverage is in place?
Yeah, we'll definitely look at that.
Wonderful. Thank you. Go ahead.
And that's where I was going.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to
I
interrupt
wanted,
you.
I was wondering if there was going to be some communication, because I've communicated, because I made contact with the chief about emergency services. And now the one thing that residents have also brought up is they're a little concerned, especially winter time, with because we do have quite a few people who have their homes down on the other side of the canal there that are impacted, as well as businesses that are impacted by this. And they were wondering the new detour will add about 45 to 50 minutes time to them to get to our dumps. So they were wondering if there were, for the time that the bridge is down, if there would be some sort of a contingency. I don't know what that would look like because I'm not in a place to make those decisions, but could it be, we have just a truck like the one that goes and just sits for, 4 hours on a certain day to help out with that. Just something to kind of relieve that, because they are going to be impacted quite a bit by this closure.
We can have discussion with staff.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll see if there's any solutions that could
Right.
be looked at.
That would be great, because, and as I said, communication all the way around of the supports that we will be providing for those folks. Because I have to admit, I was a little bit disappointed that Parks Canada never even mentioned that Leeds and Thousand Islands was part of that. And as a matter of fact, said, oh no, we haven't looked into any of that. So the other thing, I've had a few residents come to me about the lower level of the community hall in Sealy's Bay. And they understand from conversations that it's not going to be considered rental space. Anyways, and they would want to know if there's anything that we could possibly do about that. One thing too, kind of leading to the Brass Point Bridge thing, is that there's lots of businesses up there that are impacted by the bridge closure. And perhaps there could be like a farmer's market had in there, or some sort of youth activities, something to, because we're not going to be getting around to this in the next couple years. We might want to look at making that a space that could be rentable. Now, somebody told me that they were using it for storage, but what did we do for storage before? We have another building now. So just something to think about and take into consideration, because it's sitting there vacant. It might as well be used.
Okay. I have Councillor Kelman. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Worship. And through you, just a couple of events I wanted to mention. Forgive me if I'm overlapping something you're going to talk about. There's lots happening this weekend. There is in Lyndhurst, the Lyndhurst Community Organization's plant sale, and also community-wide garage and yard sale. And I know there's also, everyone knows there's the big plant sale in Lansdowne this weekend. Next week on Tuesday is the next Leeds Thousand Islands Historical Society meeting and talk. And this one is about the Princess of Wales Regiment Museum. And also I wanted to mention the next Shirefest concert coming up in Sealy's Bay on Sunday, May 31st. If you have never been to a Shirefest concert, it is a very unique experience and I highly recommend it. And they are open to the public, despite what some might think. And it's a really lovely little venue, whether it's inside or outside. So I always post lots of information on those things, and it's probably all on the township website or Facebook page as well, if you want more information.
Okay. Unless Councillor Clare, you have anything to add? Okay. going back to Mr. Maybe, and then you're going to get the last word, Mr. Robertson, should you wish to ask or add anything, I should say.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, and through you, just to follow up on what Councillor Antoine Hartley has talked about. So I'm wondering how many residents are over there on that side, and how many businesses are also affected, like the numbers of people that are actually participating in this or impacted by this. And then as a possible solution for the garbage is that we have drop-off bins, one for recycle, one for garbage, that they can actually utilize and then be moved out at a certain point as an option also.
So it will be up to staff to come forward with some recommendations that are actually doable and within parameters and the responsibilities and licenses. Yeah, I'll let the CAO.
Sorry,
speak to it.
just in terms of that, I don't know the answer in terms of the number of residents, but it's not as easy as putting down a couple of bins because that's considered waste transfer and there's licenses and requirements and you have to have a properly zoned and designated location for that. So there's a lot of considerations. I will discuss it with our manager of infrastructure and environment, but I'm not sure what the options are at this point, so that's something that may take some time to look at.
Okay. Newly minted Counselor Counselor at Large, until we make it official, but please go ahead if you have anything to add.
I have very little to add other than to thank each and every one of you for your confidence. I look forward to working with you, and I'm sitting here listening to the issues you're raising, and those are quite frankly the issues at heart that I was hoping we would be able to be discussing and get involved with and make decisions on. So I'm really looking forward to that over the next 5 months. Appreciate it.
Thank you. So yes, and I will say thank you to the clerk for rejigging our agendas because we didn't have statements from counselors before. It was a bit different. It was handled differently. So this gives everybody an opportunity to bring up things that need to be addressed, whatever it may be, if it hasn't been brought up before. So candidate packages for mayor, council, and school board trustee are available for download on the elections page on our website and at the administration office here at 1233 Prince Street, Lansdowne. Nomination period closes 2 p.m. on August 21st, 2026. Information sessions are still being hosted in several communities. May 14th in Prescott, May 21st in Kemptville, or June 24th in Gananoque. For more information, please reach out to our clerk. And just to thank you, a shout out to our clerk who hosted one here in the municipality last week, which I believe you said had the best attendance so far. So it is actually very great that so many people are wanting to serve their municipality. It's even more encouraging that they're trying to find out how to do it in the right way, that there is policy, there is procedure, there is things that we have to consider. I know that sometimes folks get frustrated from the outside, but there are proper protocols that we have to follow for the protection of the electorate, but also the staff and the council at large. So I would highly encourage anybody who's interested in running for council, whether it be for councillor or mayor, that you attend one of these sessions to get up to speed. Upcoming events, as already indicated, plant sale May 16th at 8:30 a.m. in Lyndhurst, May 16th in Lansdowne, 8 a.m. at the fairgrounds. Touch a Truck is happening here at the administrative office in behind on Wednesday, May the 20th. It's a free event scheduled during Public Works Week. There is a no cost barbecue, but we highly encourage donations for our local food bank, whether it be through actual food items or cash donations, which go directly to our two food banks, or not to our food bank in the north. Okay, I'm almost done. Don't worry, I'll stop stuttering. The rodeo is gearing up for their next event, May 29th and 30th. Tickets are still available, but if you are thinking about attending the rodeo here in Lansdowne, whether on the Friday night or the Saturday night, I highly recommend that you get tickets in advance, because if you don't, the last couple of years, they have not had any tickets if you go straight to the gate. So please make sure you make arrangements ahead of time. June is Seniors Month. Come and join us in celebration on June 11th at 2 p.m. 2 to 4 p.m. at the Community Hall here in Lansdowne as we celebrate the month and honor our TLTI Ontario Senior of the Year recipient. And lastly, I would like to reveal the Easter egg that I planted last week. I was very surprised. I received an email from Pierre Mercier, who works with our archive folks in the Historical Society, about 2 weeks ago to let us know that the Archive Association of Ontario had received a nomination for the municipality to be honored for our work that has been happening down at the Escott Hall. This is an award. We were recipients of the corporate award for the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands. And it's for in recognition of their ongoing support of the Leeds and Thousand Islands archives through the renovation and restoration of the front of Escott Town Hall into a permanent archival facility. So the cool thing about this was I had to go to the University of Toronto where they held the luncheon. But the gentleman who is the executive director actually lives in Kingston. So the hope is that he will come down for our official opening, which is imminent, Madam Acting CAO, in the next month or two. Okay. I didn't say a date. I said imminent. This is close. We're just doing the final strokes on getting that finished up. Meeting building code as we do. And our hope is that we will be doing an official ribbon cutting. They don't give out this award every year, which is kind of neat. So they give out a number of awards, the industry award. And then there was like a Trailblazer award. But again, they don't give out those particular awards every single year. It was very interesting to hear about the other nominees. The industry award was won by University of Waterloo, who has a massive library and record keeping system. These are really large organizations. Also, the County of Oxford was honored, and some of the work that they had done in light of their 175th anniversary in 2025. So, it struck me as I was privileged to accept this award on behalf of the municipality. It struck me in that was not an easy decision for us to make as a council, because we have a lot of have to do's. This was a nice to do. However, you only get one shot to save a building of this age. And it isn't always in the financial cards. We are fortunate in this municipality, as it was indicated by some of the candidates, that financially we seem to be in better shape than some. So we were able to preserve this building. I know it wasn't a unanimous decision. However, the building will be here for long after most of us will be gone. And the cool part is that it will not only save the records, but the items that are important and indicative of our municipality. So it made me very proud on behalf of this municipality to accept the award. Mr. Art Shaw was the one who put the nomination forward. And we will be posting the actual full nomination. I'd be here another 15 minutes reading it. But it was very humbling in that they recognized that it wasn't an easy decision for council to make. They recognize it is a significant amount of money. I know that sometimes it's been frustrating for them because we haven't been able to get it done as quickly, but they also recognize that historical buildings are full of surprises and that doing it right is better than just doing it and hoping for the best. So it was really cool. So I drove up to Toronto at the lunch, got the award, turned around, came back on Friday. And Rodney, their executive director, will be joining us when we do our ribbon cutting down at that facility, hopefully here in the next month or two. Okay, so that was the Easter egg. Go ahead, Mr. Fody.
Thank you, Your Worship, and through you. On that note of the ribbon cutting at Escott Hall, can we have that fully available to the public best we can, either a Saturday or after hours? it'd be a slap in the face to the public to hold that midday.
Oh, I think the goal is to have it potentially. Yeah, we have to work with the archives and figure out what time, but the goal, they want as many people to be able to get there. So
Right.
we'll work with them, and it would be nice if the majority of council can be there, if staff can't be, or we'll figure it out.
Well, even if you held it kind of on the edge of the, 5 o'clock or something like that.
Mhm. Well, we will definitely do our best to make it as accessible as to most.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there anything else going on other than happy long weekend? I did that last week. Yes. Yeah. So, other than that, I think that's everything. So I'll get moving with our motions. Moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Leclerc, that third reading and final passage be granted to bylaw number 2026-024. And all those in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. Moved by Councillor Kelman, seconded by Councillor Leclerc, that three readings and final passage be granted to bylaw number 2026-025, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of the Corporation of the Township of Leeds and the Thousand Islands at its May 12, 2026 council meeting. All those in favor? Any opposed? It's carried. And move for adjournment is by Councillor Leclerc, seconded by Councillor Kelman, that council adjourn at 7:46 p.m. All in favor? Any opposed? Carried. Have a good evening and happy Victoria Day weekend.